I think there were a few flashpoints during this match. I mean, we haven't got onto the Lundstram, potential sending off quite early on yet.
Let's get into it. What do you think?
I mean, when your foot is up that high, there's always going to be some debate. But I think in a match of that kind of stature, a referee is always going to look for a way to avoid showing a red card that early on and potentially ruining the spectacle.
Yeah.
Then again, he's a player who's not exactly shy in moments like these. It's not the first time that we've seen this kind of challenge go in. But as I was saying, it was one of a number of flashpoints, because let's not forget as well, Rangers very easily could have won that in extra time had Kevin Trapp not made an absolutely phenomenal save.
Ridiculous.
And to be honest, Kevin Trapp, obviously, the hero for saving the penalty from Aaron Ramsey as well, but he's been phenomenal for Frankfurt in this run to the final as well. And this, I mean, for me, somebody who saw him really struggle under the pressure at PSG and then go back to Frankfurt and succeed in the way he has, it is quite rewarding, to see a player sort of, in the image of his team, succeeding in the way that he has. And, I think that there were a couple of fine moments there where the game could have been decided in either team's favor. Because I think if Lundstram goes off that early, Frankfurt probably win it in 90. But then again, if Rangers score at that moment in extra time, I don't think, that it even gets to penalties.
Just on that foul, I mean, I kind of agree. I mean, I understand the point JJ's making there. It's a final and, it's up to the referee to let the sort of spectacle flow. But I think we also have to call a spade here. That's a red card challenge. It is a challenge that disgraces John Lundstram and the Belinda Carlisle-inspired chant, "John Lundstram is the best on earth." It's a disgrace to that chant.
It may be late in the UK, James Bench, but you still got it, my friend. Well done.
I have to say, I think he deserves 3 matches, not just banned, but without that chant. It was a really poor decision, and I think I imagine that Christina and Cole would say the same thing. Like, you of course have to understand the spectacle, but a red card challenge is a red card challenge, and I thought he should have gone for that. I don't understand how VAR didn't instruct him to do that. Obviously, I know they can't then say you should give it a yellow, but I thought he should have been gone. And actually, having him on the pitch helped Rangers a lot in their good moments. It was really good.
To see no booking at all was pretty remarkable. And I agree. I think it was the ref really just thinking to himself, man, this is a final. It's the beginning of this game. I don't want to ruin anything. It was kind of similar.
There's 100,000 Rangers fans who'll be furious.
And the ref was walking by Rangers fans.
Well,
exactly.
The ref probably has a cousin. He probably has a cousin in Glasgow.
The other point that I wanted to make, though, is that yesterday when I was watching Sheffield United Nottingham Forest, Michael Oliver was treating that game totally different to how he would ref a Premier League match as well. And sometimes I think like the atmosphere, the environment in itself makes you think, I'm going to ref this in a different way. But I'm with you, James Bench. This is, at the very least, a yellow, definitely a red for me. Shades of Nigel de Jong, they're saying there. By the way, we got a good question here. I wonder if any of you have the answer for this. I believe Dan Kane has it. Des Norris, has a team ever finished bottom half of their league? Because obviously Eintracht Frankfurt were 11th at the end of the season in the Bundesliga and qualified for the Champions League. Good question here.
I mean, I wouldn't think so. In England, we've had 2 teams, haven't we, that didn't finish in the top 4. I mean, I remember with Liverpool in 2005.
Yep.
They had to go all the way through the qualifiers, and obviously it wasn't until quite recently that we introduced the UEFA introduced Europa League winners get a Champions League spot. So I would be really surprised. The only 2 that come to my mind from an English perspective are Liverpool and Chelsea winning the competition, the Champions League, and coming back in. But even then, they weren't bottom.
They were higher up. Yeah, exactly. I can't think of one. Jonathan Johnson, Michael Lahoud. I don't know. It's a good question. I believe no. I mean, to your point, James Bench, is partly because this is a recent new ruling where the Europa League winner goes to the Champions League as well. That's part of it. But I mean, I think this probably is the first time ever in history such a low seeded in terms of the domestic competition to win a trophy. It's remarkable stuff here. Michael. Or JJ, go ahead. Anybody jump in?
No, I was just going to say, Well, no, I mean, Villarreal were 7th, I think, in La Liga when they won it last season, but that, that doesn't compare with Eintracht Frankfurt still being in the bottom half. Otherwise, I think when you look at, I mean, people will say what they want to say about the Europa League and its predecessor, the UEFA Cup, but there's always been some, quite high quality teams in there. When you look at the ultimate winners, okay, perhaps there's been some unexpected finalists, but the team that ultimately ends up winning it is normally one there or thereabouts in the top half of their table, certainly in the 2000s.
Yeah.
Although I think it's true that you end up having. Sorry, I know I'm talking a lot.
No.
Although it is true that I think it will quite often take a lot out of your season to get this far. I remember talking to someone that ran the medical department, or the strength and conditioning department at a Premier League club that was in the Europa League, just saying, even though it's hard to explain, the Thursday, Sundays are so much harder than Wednesday, Saturdays. Obviously, you're flying further. You're maybe not playing on as good pitches. The squad is being rotated a lot more. It's in and out, and I think it's a really demanding competition. And I suspect we would have seen that with Frankfurt this season.
I think if you look at this Frankfurt team, look at the subs that they brought in versus what Rangers are able to bring in, the experience, the depth. They don't really have a lot of depth on this team and the roster makeup, so they have to prioritize which league or which competition they're going to focus on. And you typically see that with clubs outside of Borussia Dortmund and Bayern Munich. If you're in European competition, you make a run, you have to go for it. RB Leipzig, they almost crashed out of Champions League qualification through the league because they went for it in the Europa League. They're not a team that has a lot of depth either. For Frankfurt, they play in the German Bundesliga, which was the most competitive team next to the Italian Serie A this season. If you look from 3rd place to about 10th, maybe even sneak 11th with Frankfurt winning the Europa League this year, it is competitive as hell. You had to wait till almost the last 3 games of the season, maybe even the last 2, to book your ticket to Europe. So that tells you how good the German league has gotten this season. And it shows in the quality of what Frankfurt was able to do. Look at the opposition they beat to get to this final and then obviously win it. No, they didn't play against the marquee name in the final, but they earned every single ounce of respect to get to this final. I mean, they embarrassed Barcelona at their home ground. That's not easy to do, especially against a resurgent Barcelona side under Xavi this season.
I don't think anyone can really argue that Frankfurt didn't deserve to get to the final, but I think we can also say the same of Rangers as well. Nobody gave them a chance up against the likes of Leipzig, yet for them to pull it off and get there was an achievement in itself. And I think something else to bear in mind, especially on the argument about squad depth, is how Rangers were really undermined by the fact that they had so many issues in their attack. You see Kemar Roof come on literally just in time for the penalty shootout. He was a big miss from the start. No Morelos at all, another source of goals for Rangers. So, perhaps with a few fewer injuries or fitness issues, perhaps this is a different affair.